Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, March 11th, 2019 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I expand through what is with the energy. It was my third take trying to get that out. So, woo, finally did it. And we definitely have some astro stuff to dig into today, but I want to get into something that's happening in the background that we're building into that I think is important. We have Pluto hanging out at 22 degrees. So Pluto's been hanging out at that master degree, which, by the way, I do have the master card today. So we're wanting to work this master energy for sure. But as Pluto's going along this way, we have the south node coming this way and the north node coming into exact opposition. Now, what came up, and I'm not huge on this, but it popped through, so I listened. Especially as Pluto and the North Node approach their opposition, I feel like we're approaching some new timelines, some major shifts in energy, and this could definitely go along with several other things that are happening in the astro. But what's more important, like new timelines, not new timelines, I don't know. Watch for old patterns, especially as Pluto and the South Node approach each other. You may find yourself getting really pulled into old situations, old power plays, manipulations, places where you've given your power away. Be very aware of these old patterns. As you break through these old patterns, so come about the potential for these new timelines, especially as you honor yourself, especially as you nurture yourself. I think that's the key in this. Make sure you're honoring yourself. Make sure that you're honoring your personal power. But be vigilant about your own personal patterns. I almost wrote something about this today. Like, be aware. There are always patterns being created. Like, life is like these infinite fractals. If you are vigilant, you can see the patterns you're making, the patterns that other people are making. Now, does that mean that the patterns are how it's always going to be? No. But I think we really need to be vigilant about how we show up. And this is how we monitor our light and our dark, and how we shift those places within us that are being called to evolve and shift. So this is a really major time for that. So be very aware of that happening in the background. They're 2 degrees apart right now, but they're moving together, and I see this happening. I wish I'd made that post now about patterns and keeping track of them, because the words in my head were really good at that time, and now the words are like, blah. All right, so today we have Chiron. Chiron has reached 1 degree of Aries. So does that mean anything specifically? Not unless you really have a planet at 1 degree that it's interacting with. But I would say that this is like Chiron and Aries really coming alive, coming on board. So be very aware of your personal soul work, soul awakening energy that is going on, because as Chiron starts moving through the degrees, that energy is going to come online for us. And so being vigilant of that helps. All of this is like, here's how you can be vigilant to the energies. We have the moon continuing in Taurus. So moon with all of these energies in Taurus, making mud with all of the energies that we have hanging out in Pisces. And oh my God, do we have a conglomeration in Pisces. We have Lilith, Neptune, Vesta, the Sun, and Mercury all hanging out in Pisces. So all that Pisces energy is like, be present with what is. That was our theme for this, is working with what is, and realizing that what's showing up for you is for your greatest and your highest good at this time, if you're willing to work with it. That being said, I do have the totality card in reverse. So what I'm seeing, and this is a Pisces habit, I'm seeing some level of escapism, whether it's through food, alcohol, TV distractions, YouTube, social media, not being present with ourselves. But we are called for mastery in and through this energy. So, again, be aware of your patterns and make some time to show up for yourself. Moon in Taurus. The biggest thing I see with the moon in Taurus today is the moon conjunct Mars. Every time the moon and Mars come together, it's so interesting. The moon brings the emotional energy, and Mars in and of itself is very emotional. Mars is like, I want to do what I want to do. I want to have the freedom to do what I want to do. I want to have the mojo and motivation and give me a free, broad, wide open pasture. So Moon conjunct Mars can be beautiful and creative and like find yourself out jumping fences, you know? Or if you are feeling frustrated or angry, that Moon energy can just heighten it. A lot of times I see as the Moon and Mars come together, there's a lot of crankiness out there. So be very aware of your crankiness. If you are feeling cranky, where are you feeling stuck? Where are you feeling stuck in the mud? And if you are feeling stuck in the mud, where are your own habits of escapism leading to your stuckness? Because chances are with all this mud right now, it has something to do with that. It's really easy to point the fingers outside, but it always comes back to inside and how we are showing up. I would also say if you're feeling cranky and stuck in the mud, how are you resisting the flow? Because this connection is happening at 16 degrees, that's 7 energy, so that's all about finding the flow. So if you are feeling that crankiness, look into that. The other connections with the moon they're nice, easy connections. The moon's connecting to Neptune, so some muddiness. You may have some really interesting dreams come up. If you are meditating, some interesting images coming through. Neptune's encouraging us to be moving with the flow, going with the flow. I also want to mention that Mars and Neptune are definitely, they're coming into a place where they too are still working, or they still are working together. Be motivated from your master self. Don't be motivated by your, suppressed, 3D, frustrated victim lower self in and through this energy. Be aware of that. Moon connecting to Saturn. Saturn in Capricorn energy. Now this is such an interesting thing because trines are always good. This could be a beautiful, like, nice little push. But again, if the frustration's up in you, what are you working for? To what end? And whose end? Are you working for yourself? Are you working for your soul? Or are you... I don't want to use those words. Give me something else. Are you a slave to society? You know, be aware of that in and through this energy. There's some major mojo power energy coming through, but it's really meant to be available to you on that soul level. And again, I'm not saying leave your job. You know, that's up to you, the timing of that and all that, if that's something that is, oh, jeez, of desire to you. Wow, shake-ups. That was very distracting, Joe. It's okay. It's up to you when you do that thing. But if that's a feeling of something that you do desire, this is a call to make the steps towards your soul. You know, it can be baby steps. I'm going to start calling this card baby steps. Baby steps towards your joy. But, like, which direction is joy for you? And aim your heart in that direction and start. The sun and the moon are connecting, 20 degrees, 21 degrees, through nurturing yourself through whatever process you are going through at this time. That's very important. It will ultimately lead to your expansion. It's one of the things we need to be aware of. Sometimes we like to manipulate the energies. Sometimes we like to overanalyze the energies. But what we really need to do is learn to work with the energies and ourselves intertwined. And the more we do that, the more we'll find harmony in ourselves and harmony in the universe. Final aspect of the day is the moon lighting up that Pluto energy and then going on to the south node. Now, especially as the moon connects to the south node late at night, you may have some realizations of some of these old patternings that you have done, and where they have sold you short, and where you have not honored your worth. I think besides the Master card, the other card that I have that's really indicative is the Healing card. When we notice that suppression, we can find that healing, and that is the personal mastery. You know, really looking within to find that thing. But I have this in reverse, the Totality card, which is the Be Here Now card. So if you are practicing escapism, you may be a little bit less likely to see it. So I think that's it for today. I just went and did a whole thing of Uranus and Taurus for my patron group, so if you would like more on that, go dig in there. Besides that, you can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. You have the power. The better gets, and there is enough love in the world for you. Namaste.